Alright, so these are the test corrections for Math 4 Chapter 3 tests taken on November 8th, 2016. This is out of 34 points. Question number 1. The name of the side of the triangle opposite of the right angle. So the right angle is here in orange. And I need to go to the opposite side, which is this line here. Anything across the right angle, which means this is the longest side, that's called the hypotenuse. H is your correct answer. Question number 2. Multiple choice. In triangle RST, so there is no triangle, draw one. The measure of angle R is 58. And the measure of angle S, come back later. S is 73 degrees. Which inequality is true? Okay, so I have two angles of a triangle. I'm going to find the third one. Triangle sum theorem. And then I'm going to put in 58 and 73, and I'll call that angle T. Well, if I add those two up, I get 120, 131. And I subtract that. Angle T is how much? 49. So I can put 49 back into my triangle. And notice that they go from least to greatest. So I'm going to write these values. 49, 58, 73. Least to greatest. And then I'm going to go opposite of the angle. So I have RS, opposite of 58 is TS, and the opposite of 73 is RT. And then I'm going to look for these letters. RS, TS, and RT. That's why the answer is number 4. So this problem is pretty involved. No picture, draw one. Triangle sum theorem to compare angle T. I notice that my sides are from least to greatest, so if the sides, then we have to look at the angles. Question number 3. In the diagram, triangle LMO is an isosceles. And it tells us LO is congruent to MO. So make your marks. Okay. If the measure of angle L is 55, so there it is, kind of hard to see, and the measure of angle NOM is 28 degrees, what is the measure of angle N? Okay. Isosceles triangles tell us that opposite of, if our sides are congruent, then the angles are congruent. Okay, so an isosceles triangle has two congruent sides and two congruent angles. So if this is 55, then you can write this one to be 55. Okay, now you could use triangle sum theorem and recognize that this is 110, this will have to be 70, but this 70 degrees you don't need. This is the one you need right here. Well, if this is 55, this has to be 125 because of linear pair. Linear pair pasta is blank plus blank equals 180. So if that's 55, then the other one has to be 125. And then here, if I have 28 and 125, then you can use triangle sum theorem. 28 plus 125 plus angle N equals 180. Subtract 153 from both sides, and you get letter choice 1. 1 is your correct answer. Notice the several distractors. 70 that you didn't need, that's also on there. Don't let it distract you. Question number 4. Which three lengths cannot be the lengths of the sides of a triangle? So pretty much you're looking for one that says not. Okay? Now you could do 3 mini problems, but we remembered something when we did the noodles. Do you guys remember that? What was the shortcut? What was the shortcut? Well, what you could do is, basically for each of these problems, you do 3 mini problems. 5 plus 7 must be greater than 8. 7 plus 5, no, 8 plus 5 must be greater than 7, right? 13 is greater than 7. And then the other one I don't have is 8 plus 7 must be greater than 5. These are all true, right? That means it is a triangle. But we're trying to find which ones that are not a triangle. If you notice this one, 21 plus 6 is greater than 10. 10 plus 6 is that greater than 21? No, that's false. And that's why the answer is B. So if you look at this, these two numbers are the smallest numbers, so the shortcut is if you add the two smallest numbers and it's greater than the third one, then it will be a triangle. Okay, notice how 10 plus 6 is 16. 16 should be less than 21. That's why this one's false. Okay? Alright, question number 5. Tina wants to sew a piece of fabric into a scarf in the shape of an isosceles triangle. There's the word isosceles triangle again. As shown in the company. So I already have these two. Remember, going opposite of these angles should also be congruent. So if this is 42 degrees, what do you think y is going to be? 42. Let's write that. And then to solve for x, I can just use triangle sum theorem. So 42 plus x, so 82 plus x equals 180. Subtract 82 from both sides, and you'll get x to be, what happened? Oh, 84. And that'll be 96. X is 96, y is 42, that'll be letter choice A. Remember, you should be doing your corrections on the side here. It's a great way of studying in math. Question number 6, multiple choice. Find the value of x. The diagram is not drawn to scale. Given SRT, the most important letter is this middle letter, is congruent to STR. STR, these are the same. If the measure of angle SRT, middle letter is R, so there's R, is 20 degrees, and the measure of angle STU, that's the exterior angle, STU, so I'll call this exterior, is 4x, they want to know what is the value of x. Well, remember, essentially they don't tell you, but this is an isosceles triangle. I know it's an isosceles triangle because I have two congruent angles. The congruent angle is telling me about the sides. All I need to know is something right here. If this side is 20, then this side is 20 because they told me the angles are congruent. If this is 20, and I can do a linear pair. A linear pair is blank plus blank equals 180. I have 20 here. And I have this side, which is called 4x. Subtract 20 from both sides. 4x is 160. Divide by 4, x is equal to 40. That would be letter choice D. Question number 7. Find the values of A and B. Remember, I have a special number here. The number is 60. If this is 60, this is 90, this one has to be a 30. One way you can do the problem is you can just draw another triangle here. And now you have an equilateral triangle, right? If this is 9, this is also 9. That means this side will be 18, 18, and this one will be 18. So I know that B is equal to 18. So not there, not there. For C. Now, that was an easy multiple choice. If it was a harder question, you could also have done how do you solve for A. You could just use the Pythagorean theorem based on what they give you. I'll do that in a different color. They call this one A, this one B. I'll call this one, I don't know. We'll call this one, we'll relabel the number C. We'll call this one B, this one A. So C squared equals A squared plus B squared. C is 18. A is 9 squared. And B, we don't know. Then you can just go through. 18 times 18 equals 9 times 9 plus B squared, so that's 81. 18 squared is how much? 324? Anyone? Calculator? 18 squared. Subtract 81 from that.
324.
Maybe subtract 324 from that. B squared equals 243. Use your calculator. Square root of 243. I'm just looking for pairs, so let's say 3. 3 goes into 24 8 times. 3 goes in 3 once. The square root of 81 is 9. So 9 radical 3 would be my answer. So again, you didn't have to do all of this to figure out A. All you needed to do was B for that problem. That side was worth 14 points. Turn the page. Find the length of the third side of each right triangle. Leave your answer in simplest radical form. So basically they're saying exact, and you need to simplify it, no decimals. Just use the Pythagorean theorem. C is the across the right angle. You can call this one A, this one B. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. 4 squared is 16. 16 plus 8 squared is 64. 16 plus 64 is 80. Okay, this is where a lot of students have troubles. Take the square root of both sides. C equals the square root of 80. Now this is not simplified. So here, all I'm doing is in looking for factors, right? The best one is 16 times 5. Because in 16 times 5, you'll get 4 times 4 times 5. And that 4 is a pair, and that pair comes out, and you get C equals 4 radical 5. If you left it square root of 80, you got 3 out of 4 points on that one. If you just wrote down the Pythagorean theorem, I gave you 2 points. Question number 9. Here I have 2 arcs to show vertical angles. So if this is 25, this one also has to be 25. So that's C, so vertical angles. If you know that this is 25, then you have 100 plus 25 plus B equals 180 degrees. That's essentially I call it a straight angle. And then so that's 125, subtract, and then you get x is equal to 55. So I'll call that a straight angle. Over on this side, I have a linear pair. So 110 plus blank equals 180, so that one's going to be 70. So linear pair. For that one, I scored it. You got 4 points, all 3 correct. 3 points if you got 2 of those correct. 1 wrong, and 2 points if you got 1 of them correct. If you got them all wrong, you got 1 point. Question number 10. Solve them for the missing variables. Leave your answer in simplified radical form. Again, that means your exact answer. Here you have a 30, 60, 90. So if you wrote down your shortcut, remember 30, 60, I wrote it here. 30, 60, 90, you have x radical 3. That's a formula to write down. And across the 90 is 2x. So in here, they give you 9 is across the 60. And you labeled across the 60 x radical 3, so you set both of these equal to each other. To get rid of this 3, you have to rationalize. So you take that number, top and bottom, multiply across. you're going to get 9 radical 3. And this will become radical 9, and radical 9 is just 3. Then you have 9 divided by 3 is just 3, so your answer is 3 radical 3 for x. Now, if x is equal to 3 radical 3, then this one says take x, which is this, and multiply it by radical 3. So if I multiply this number by radical 3, you're going to have the 3 on the outside. This is radical 9 is 3, so 3 times 3 is 9. And you take 2x, you just take your x value here and multiply it by 2, so 2 times this 3 will give us 6 radical 3. So your y value is 60 degrees, and z, which is the hypotenuse, that'll become 6 radical 3. 4 points for 2 correct, 0 wrong with equations. I gave you 3 points, 1 correct, 1 wrong, or 2 correct, 1 wrong with equations. 2 correct, 0 wrong with no equations. I gave you 3 points. 2 points, 1 correct with 1 wrong, and then no equations. And 1 point you tried it. Question number 11, solve for the missing variables. Pay attention here, round your answer to the nearest tenth. Your shortcut for 45, 45, 90, you know it's a 45, 45, 90, looking at that, 45, you figure that out to be 45, 90. Your shortcut is x, x, x radical 2. So across here you just write x, across the 45 write x, and across here you write x equals radical 2. You're basically solved right here, x is equal to 3, so you just put 3 and 3, and you put your 3 value here. Now here, this is not a to the nearest tenth, so you just put it into your calculator. So I'm going to type in 2 times the square root. Then I'm going to multiply that number by 3. And I need to the nearest tenth, so this is the tenth. This number is not 5 or higher, so that'll remain 4.2. W is equal to x, which is 3. C is 45 degrees. Here is a grading scale for that problem. And the last problem should have been easy points. Gave you guys a Ken. That side was worth 20 points.